are in listen-only mode.
Hi, everybody. Good morning. I'm excited about this being my first webinar with all of you. And I want to introduce myself. My name is Tracy Hansen. I am the new agent relations specialist here at Allison James. I am excited also to tell you about that we do have our coaching program starting in August 1st. And if you want to sign up or learn more about it or any of our systems, I want you to feel free to sign up for a phone call with me, and I will walk you through it the best I can. With that being said, I want to welcome Tom Bullock. Tom, are you there?
I'm here.
Thank you, Tom. Thank you, Tom, for joining us. And I'm going to let you talk about the art of the listing presentation.
Fantastic. Thank you, Tracy.
You're welcome.
And for all of those that are on the call with us today, I just want to give a more formal welcome to Tracy. I've known Tracy for a number of years, and I can tell you firsthand that we are all very, very lucky to have Tracy as a part of our team here at Corporate. And I welcome you, Tracy, and I know the agents are going to love you once they get to know you more and more as time wears on. So great having you with us.
Thank you, Tom. I'm excited about meeting everybody. And just for those of you who don't know, I do have 17 years experience in this industry as a realtor and also as a sales rep in other aspects. But you'll learn all about me later. And if you have any questions, please, I would love for you to sign in for a one-on-one call with me, and I'd love to talk to you about it, or any other questions actually that you have. So thank you, Tom. Go ahead and lead us on.
Okay, no problem. Today, I am going to be presenting the art of the listing presentation. In fact, this is actually a two-pronged type of presentation. The first point is what I'm going to be doing today. And today I'm going to be talking about the listing presentation itself, as well as the fine points of how you might be able to enhance your presentation, number one, and hopefully increase your success rate. The second part of this presentation will take place next month with Jeff Green. One of the factors we've noticed in reviewing files over the past recent history is that we've seen the commission structure drop from 6% to 5%, and more recently we're seeing more and more cases where the commission is actually dropping from 5% down to 4%. And obviously, as independent contractors, you have the ability to sign listings at whatever level you choose. However, if you stop and think about it, if you go from a 4% listing to a 5% listing, that's increasing your business. That's increasing your profitability at year end. So we do have a concern, and what we hope to do through our presentations this month and next is develop a standard that you can follow that will enhance not only your presentation, but more importantly, your income and your business level. So with that, I'm going to kick off with the art of the listing presentation. In today's competitive real estate world here in California, we understand the importance that you need to stand out. You need to be head and shoulders above your competition when you're in that living room or at that kitchen table doing your listing presentation. And for those of you who have been at my training classes here in San Diego, you understand that I am a big advocate of doing a pre-listing package. And the reason I like that pre-listing package is that most other agents, if not all other agents, don't do it. And when you present a pre-listing package to your seller prior to the appointment, again, you're standing out. You're showing that you do care about this listing presentation to go to the trouble to put together a pre-listing packet so that client, that potential seller, knows exactly what to expect from you. From the point you contact the listing agent to make the appointment, no more than 48 hours should pass from the time that phone call takes place to the time you're at that front door. You want to make sure get that listing while it's hot, and you want to get in there and do your presentation. A day before the presentation, you should deliver, what I encourage you to do is deliver the pre-listing pack. And in that pre-listing package, you would put in, first of all, your personal brochure or resume. You want the client to have an insight as to who they're going to be talking to and who you are as a person, both in terms of business as well as personal. You also want to include the Allison James Estates and Home data. So you want to make sure that the client knows who you're affiliated with, who Allison James is, and the success level that we have as a company and as a brokerage. This is a sidelight, but I do have some information here regarding numbers that we have achieved in the last both 30 days as well as the last 12 months as the Allison James Estates and Home brokerage. In the past 30 days, the total volume of real estate sold by Allison James Estates and Homes is $169,083,335. The listing size we have handled in the last 30 days is 215 listings. The selling side of our business we have handled in the last 30 days 161 listings. In the past 12 months, our numbers are just staggering, really. Our total volume sales is $1,798,891,305. That's impressive. Listing size of over 2,000 for the last 12 months, and our selling side likewise is over 2,000. So those are numbers that we can point to and address with our potential sellers with pride. We're an active real estate company. Our agents are very active. We're in the business because it's our career, and we have a lot to be proud of, and we need to talk about it. You also need to talk about, maybe add some checklists as to, why use a realtor instead of going for sale by owner. You also want to add to it maybe 10 things to do before you list a home. It gets into talking about decluttering. It talks about maybe sprucing up the home to give it a better overall presentation and increase value. And you also want to include with it 10 top questions to ask your salesperson. All of these checklists are readily available through the web. If you have a hard time or are not able to find it, please contact me, and I'll be happy to provide you with what I have. You also want to include an appointment agenda in that pre-listing package. Start to finish, a listing presentation should take no more than 45 minutes to an hour. Anything beyond that, the seller's going to get bored. Potentially, you could get bored, and that's not a good thing to have. So you want to keep it on pace, you want to keep it moving, and you want to keep it pertinent so you keep their peak interest throughout the entire presentation. You also want to include comps, local and recent comps, as to what has taken place sales-wise, both in their neighborhood as well as in their immediate area. I'm sure through Zillow, through Realtor.com, they have an idea of what's taking place, but that information isn't always current. So you want to make sure prior to you getting there, they have the most recent information, and that's the information you'll be working off of as well. And so those are just items that you would include in the pre-listing appointment so that they know that, number one, you take the time to are thinking about them and their home and their sale. And as I said earlier, nobody really does that anymore. So it's a good step, and it starts to set you apart from the other agents right from the beginning. Now, once you're at the appointment, you do want to speak, and I'm going to present this presentation in a bullet point type presentation, so that so that I can get through my points of interest here. And if you have questions or want more detail on those, feel free after the presentation today to reach out to me, and I'll be happy to provide you with more detail. Some of these items you do already, and that's great. Some of these items maybe you did at one time and have gotten away from it. This is a reminder for you, and for those of you here that are listening and are newer in the business, these are just good practices that you should incorporate into your presentation and follow. So you remember, when you're doing a listing presentation, you want to speak in two languages, logical and emotional. And depending on your client that you're going to be tailoring your presentation to, once you get there, you want to know what language. Sometimes you'll use both. Sometimes you both use logical when it comes to the numbers and the sale price, and emotional when it comes to the presentation of their home. So keep in mind that you're going to need to speak two languages, both logical and emotional. You want to tailor make that presentation. So if you're talking to a structural engineer, you're going to want to know, you're going to need more detail in terms of numbers. They work off of facts only. If you're dealing with other type of clients who are more on the emotional side, that's where you need to be in terms of your presentation. So you need to adapt your presentation and have the ability to present to both sides of the equation, regardless of who the client is. And that reminds me, when you're doing a listing presentation, you do not want to have a canned presentation. You want to have a planned presentation. So with a planned presentation, if you need to go from talking about logical or emotional aspects of selling a home and real estate, you have the ability to do that without disrupting your presentation, so you can keep it smooth, you can keep it moving forward, and keep it on schedule. Show empathy and concern for your client. Find out why they want to move and what their reasons. Is it because they want to move up, move down? Are they moving out of state to be with family, because of a job? Whatever the case might be, you want to find out exactly what their motivation is for winning or for moving and selling, and then work with that. Show empathy, show concern. If it's a happy move and they're excited, go with that as well. But again, be sincere, be happy for them, to build that relationship. That's so vitally important. And make sure they understand that in the transaction, it's a win-win situation when it comes to hiring you as the listing agent. They're going to win because they're going to get the price that they want for the sale of their home, as well as the timing they wish. And you win by having them as a client and being able to use and have them do a testimonial for you to present to other clients as your business moves along. You want to have successful communication, and this is really vitally important. Things that are going on in your mind that you're not necessarily discussing with the client, but be an active listener. Look into their eyes when they're speaking to you. Don't look around the room. If there are two people there that you're presenting to, look at both of them equally. Don't stay with just the guy or the gal or just, whatever the case might be. Make sure you're an active listener and that you're showing the proper respect. Power of questions. You need to make sure that you are asking questions so you can get answers that you need, so you can tailor make your presentation on the spot as to where you go next with your presentation. How do you handle that? How do you communicate? What do you say? You want to be able to reassure your clients. So if they have any concerns or worries about the process, that you can reassure them through your presentation, both with your knowledge as well as your education, as well as the brokerage that stands behind you and the company that stands behind you, that they're going to be in very, very good hands. When I talk about listing, I'm spelling the word L-I-S-T. The L stands for lead in. The I stands for investigate. The S stands for show and sell. And the T stands for time to sign. The lead in. When you get to the door and you rung the doorbell, make sure you smile. Now, some of us get so wrapped up in what we're going to say through the course of our presentation, we forget some of the basics to what we do, and that is to build that relationship. And the easiest and the quickest way to break the ice is to smile when you first meet the client and introduce yourself. Give a sincere compliment to the client with regards to their home. Arrive early so you can take a look at their front. Is their lawn manicured? Is the architecture of the home? Pick out one or two items you really enjoy about the home as you're looking at it and viewing it from your point of view, and compliment. Say it when you're walking in the door. That's always a good way to, again, try to break the ice. When you get in the home, try to sit at the nook table if possible. Again, people have the most comfort there, and again, I believe you'll find that it'd be an easier way to have conversation and communicate with your client when they're in a more comfortable situation for them. Now, if they lead you into the living room or into the family room, follow suit. Just don't make an issue of it. But if you can get to that nook table, kitchen table, that would be, I think, a location that you would find advantageous for you. Obviously, turn off your cell phone. You want to break the ice by just small chat. Talk about, who you are, what you represent. People want to hear that, hear you say it, how that your approach to business is that of an honest and ethical manner. And people like that, and they feel comfort in that. So again, communicate it. Even though you do it and that's what you're about and that's what your reputation is about, communicate it to that client. You want to make sure they understand that important issue as well. Then you want to transition into the investigative part of your listing agenda. As you get ready to do the tour of the home, you want to go over the outline of your agenda. So again, you're just reinstilling what is going to take place over the course of the listing presentation and the steps you would like to do. The important thing about the agenda is that it does help you gain control of the situation, which after you get the listing, you're going to need to be in control with your seller. So by you setting the agenda, it keeps you on schedule with your schedule. And you're still answering all the questions that the seller might have. You're still covering all the important factors that a seller may want you to cover, but you're doing it on your agenda. So that's important to establish control early on. Do the standard process every time. Now, again, a planned presentation. Make sure that, when you get to the home, whether you're doing 1 or 2 or 3 listings over the course of a week, hopefully, that you have the same process down so that you're not trying to reinvent the wheel every time or trying to remember what you're leaving in or leaving out. That's always vitally important. When you get there and you're sitting down and you're talking to the client, first thing you want to do is bring out a notepad. And that is so that you have the ability to write out any questions that the seller might have and that you can write down so that you know what's important to them later as you're reviewing your notes. You also want to place, in my opinion, the listing agreement, pull that out right after the notepad and set it on the table. You don't have to make reference to it. You don't have to mention it. You don't have to bring it up. They're going to see what it is. So the important part of that is that way there's not going to be an awkward moment at the conclusion of your listing appointment where you're going to reach down and try to bring it up and then you have to introduce it and talk about it. By bringing it up at the beginning and setting it out there, it kind of gets the 500-pound gorilla out of the room, and it's there. They understand it's there. You're not talking about it right now. You're not asking them to sign it right now. It's just there. They see you're prepared. And then do the seller interview. In the seller interview, you want to kind of have them explain to you why they bought the home. What was it that caught their eye? What did they like about the home that encouraged them and made them move forward with the purchase? Also, you want to find out what they've done to the home since they've lived in it. What are some of the important upgrades they've accomplished with it? What are some of the things that they have the most pride in when it comes to their home? So again, those are things you want to make note of because you're going to be using that in your description of the property after you get the interview. And then you want to tour the home. And again, bring your notepad with you so that you can, while touring the home, write down all the things you notice yourself. So, you might notice that in the son's bedroom that he has a lime green wall, accent wall. Obviously that's going to be taken care of and painted out in a more neutral color. So when you get to that room and you walk in and you see that wall, you're going to need to talk about to the client that, well, this is really cool here, and I can see how you incorporated this lime green into the decor. But, keep in mind when we get clients coming through, we don't want them coming in and just concentrating on the lime green wall. We want them to view the room. In order to do that, I believe we need to paint this room out in a more neutral color so that it's not another item that the seller or that the buyer is going to need to accomplish after they purchase the home, if they purchase the home. You want to keep that honey-do list down to a minimum. You also want to include all the positives you see on that home tour. so that when you sit back down and you're going over your checklist regarding the tour, you're bringing out the things you feel need to be addressed and taken care of prior to the listing, but also at the same time, you're bringing up the positive points you notice. So, again, you don't want to just come in heavy-handed on the negative side, or you also want to throw in some positives so that the client can see you're excited about the home, you're excited about the listing and doing business with them. You also need to discuss disclosures, material facts that affect the property. So in the beginning, you need to establish, what is taking place here, what has taken place with this home. Has there been roof leaks? Has there been plumbing leaks? Have there been any electrical issues? Any other type of material fact that affects this property, the client needs to disclose. Keep in mind that even when a buyer comes along and purchases the property and has released all of their contingencies, if a new material fact appears after the release of contingencies, that buyer has every right to go out and do an inspection regarding that particular material fact. If they decide not to move forward with the purchase after further investigation regarding that one issue, they have a right to cancel. And the seller may be upset, but even though the contingencies have been released, the seller would not have the ability to maintain that deposit, that buyer's deposit in escrow, because of that one material fact that was not disclosed in a timely fashion. And likewise, if there's anything that needs to be disclosed, make sure it's disclosed up front. It's better to handle it up front and have a buyer leave after a week or so, or 10 days, than to have them leave the escrow or cancel the escrow in day 21, 25, or even 30. So again, disclose everything up front. It makes it easier and makes the transition go a lot smoother with a lot less headaches. You want to be able to tell the client exactly how you're going to show and sell the property. Talk about how you attract buyers online. Talk about the multiple listing service. Talk about the company website, your personal website. Talk about, social media, how you advertise that. Any advertising campaign that you're going to introduce to the home. Talk about that. Talk about staging. Make sure they understand your use of a professional photographer, a video walkthrough of their home. It's the yard sign that you're going to be placing. Talk about the open house that you're going to be conducting, and how through emails with your potential buyers that you're working with, how you're going to introduce their home to those type of clientele. Notify your network of realtors by way of brokered caravan. Talk about the fact that, I'm going to be sending out just listed notices to this entire neighborhood and this entire area in case they have friends or family who are looking to buy into that particular area. Again, let them know exactly how you're going to be handling the marketing and advertising of that project. Again, in closing here, just make sure that you use what I call my signature approach, but it should be your signature approach as well. Number one, you want to make sure you approach every presentation in an honest and upfront manner, and let the client know that. Let them know what you're about. Let them know what to expect from you in a straightforward, no-nonsense type approach. Talk a little bit about yourself. Don't get carried away, but let them know who you are. Let them know that you're in the community, not just simply as a business person, but that you live in the area, or that you are a part of the area through your hobbies and through your networking, volunteer works. So make sure you understand and that they follow through with all of that. Talk about your experience in real estate. Let them know what you've accomplished and what you have done, how long you've been in the business, the success you've had. Tell about how you manage the details in the transaction, and how you are always looking forward to take care of any potential issues that may pop up later. You're taking care of them now. Let them know how you analyze the market, how you know the numbers, and demonstrate that by the area. Don't work off a sheet necessarily. Have those numbers in your head when you go to the presentation. Talk about reducing risk. How do you accomplish that? Talk about, about material facts and how you're, talk about the straight, honest, forward approach. Talk again about that you're an excellent negotiator. Let them know how, you're going to negotiate in their behalf and get the highest possible price in the quickest amount of time. And again, this kind of goes back to your commission and how much you're going to ask for it. Know your worth. Be willing to walk away if they're not willing to pay what you feel your worth is. Let them know that you do exceptional follow-up. And then show them, last but not least, testimonials. As you go through and you get your clients into homes, out of homes, as your career moves on, get testimonials from those clients so that you can show through independent sources what a great realtor you are and how highly you're thought of in the industry, not only by realtors, but more importantly by your clients. So that's what I have today in terms of the listing presentation. As I mentioned earlier, I did do a bullet point type presentation on it, so that I wanted to get a number of facts out here in the time we have allotted. Our next presentation is going to be from Jeff Green, who will be doing his presentation the last Wednesday in August. And Jeff, you want to kind of do a promo on that and discuss what you're going to be discussing with regards to the commission structure?
Absolutely. And Tom, thank you for those great points on the listing presentation. The art of the listing is great. So I've noticed over the last 5 or 6 years, there's been a downward slide on commissions. We're making less commissions. When I say we, I mean the industry. And there's a lot of commission cutting going on the listing side, and there's a lot of attempts to get money out of you when you're representing the buyer. And I have some really good pointers on that. I want to help you obtain a full commission and also to be able to thoroughly explain it to your client as to why it's in their best interest that they pay a full commission, and help you have a very natural and normal conversation with your client. Because what happens is a lot of agents now consider commission cutting the new normal, and they just give into it. They don't know what to say. They don't know how to prepare themselves for that conversation. I'm going to give you some tools on that, and I look forward to it. It's going to be a lot of fun. The other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to be on the hot seat. I'm going to make a short presentation, and I'm going to tell you what I think will help you. And then if anybody has any commission cutting objections that have been thrown at them by their clients, I'll be on the hot seat, and I will answer those objections. So should be fun. You may be able to stump me, maybe not. Maybe we'll all learn something together. And of course, Tom will be on the call as a backup. He's kind of like my personal security guard on anything I need for real estate with all his experience. So he's going to be there, and he can chime in, and we'll all work on this together. So I look forward to that. It's going to be a great time for all of us.
That is great. I think everybody needs to know about negotiating or making their commissions non-negotiable, pretty much. So thank you, everyone, for joining us today. We'd like to give a huge thank you to Tom Bullock for another great presentation. And once again, thank you for joining us, and we hope to see you all next month with Jeff Green. Bye, everybody. Make it a great day.